Okay, people, we are live. I say people, nobody's watching me yet, but when you watch this back as a live recording, a recording afterwards, we should have some guests by then. Right. Let me remove the logo. 2 people watching. Two people. Let's get it up to 10. Let's get it up to 10 before we move the screen. One more. Come on, people. Let's get you on here. Surely. And then I'll introduce what we're doing. There we go. I'm going to do it. 9's good enough. There we go. I'm on your screen. Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of Dirty Talk. We have decided to make this bi-weekly, by the way. Just doing one every week is just too much for me. I think I'm a busy man. Got a lot going on. So we're going to do it fortnightly. So hopefully many of you would have seen the build up to this and who we got on. We've got Gareth Hockey coming on. So hopefully you got a load of questions for them, for Gareth and for us to discuss tonight. Primarily, we're going to be talking about British youth motocross and obviously the Weston Beach Race, just all the RHL stuff that Gareth does. So again, I'll just bring up. So Gareth's going to be coming on here. And this is what we're going to be talking about on the show. So throughout tonight. So again, half an hour to an hour. Try and get somewhere around there of chat with you guys. We can see your comments coming up. So that's cool. I can see a few people. RHL activities alive. Buchanan. Evening Mush. Evening Bobby Boy. And Kevin's on. So that's great. So I'm seeing the comments coming through. We are obviously on Facebook here and also on our YouTube channel as well. Whichever you're watching, I still get the comments from either. So without further ado, let's get episode 2 guest on from RHL Activities, Gareth Hockey. He's sat there raring to go. I'm watching him now. He's looking suave. He's just fixing his hair. He's got more than me. Boy. Right, let's get him on. There he is. Yeah, I didn't realize you could. I didn't realize you could still hear me. Oh dear. Good job I didn't give you a proper slate in then, really, well, but you'd be able to watch it.
We're used to
watch it back afterwards. Yeah. We are indeed, and you got thick skin in this game, haven't you? I suppose. Yep. Gareth, how are you? You're looking well tanned and looking fit and well.
Yeah. Lockdown's been good for me. Got 4 stone off, non-diabetic, so it's been okay. And lots going on, as you know, we've discussed, and
yeah,
we communicate quite regularly, don't we? So
yeah. I feel a bit bad about myself now because I should have tried more in lockdown. Yeah, as you losing 4 stone. Yeah. I've probably gained a bit, but that's probably through alcoholic consumption through lockdown. But anyway, that's my woes. Yeah. So I know, we can't do stuff at the minute. We all know that. We're way down the line with this. But I know for a fact that you've been using the time. You're never one to sit on your backside, on your ass and do nothing. Yep. So, you're still pushing forward. So let's start with the British Youth Championship at the minute. Just where it currently sits at the minute. And not the fallout, but where we've moved on from, or if we've moved on at all from Little Silver, which was obviously hard going, no more so for you guys.
Yeah. Little Silver was frustrating. You see it as a failure, let's be honest. And it was a failure through a little bit of disorganization, shall we, being honest. I'm not going to throw anything out there, but as RHL, we thought we were good to go. We had a plan. Weather didn't help. And it was frustrating because you've worked with me for many years to get that youth championship to where it was on that day. Full classes, superb riders now. And the weather didn't help it. So it's done. The ACU have made a decision going forward for this year, which, being honest, has probably played into our hands and suits us now. So,
that you say they've made a decision.
Yeah.
For those of you that are not so clued up on it, What was their decision following that event?
I think following the event, not necessarily following the event, but perhaps the COVID issue as well, is for this year they want to run whatever they're going to do with the adult championship as a standalone and the youth as a standalone. Which, let's be positive about it. That's great for us because we can now go back to being RHL, doing it our way. We've got our plans in place. We'll be communicating with our riders this week and next week. We're going to do a Zoom meeting with all of them. We're going to start racing end of August, as long as Boris is playing the game with us.
Well, brilliant, because we didn't get to discuss this. I didn't know that. So you're, obviously you're not probably at a level right now where you can whack an exact date on it, a venue in it, but you're shooting for end of August.
The end of August. Our August date that we have scheduled, which I can't remember now, but that date was already set in stone to be at Landrake as a adult and youth championship, will now be a youth BYC at Landrake. We will then go 2 weeks later, fingers crossed, to Cullen, and then 2 weeks later, fingers crossed, on a beach at Weston.
Oh, this is great. I didn't know any of this, and I partly didn't want to ask because I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, and like I say, nothing at the minute. Nothing can be set in stone.
No.
4th of July, hopefully we get some more good news. Margaret's quite involved with the National Outdoor Events Association and a lot to do with government. And we will follow their lead more than probably our governing body's lead. Our insurers, because we insure ourselves outside of the governing body to make sure we're protected. Our insurers are quite happy with the plans we have in place. So like I say, we can't see any reason, unless there's a second spike or it would have an impact on NHS, that we can't go racing.
Well, one of the comments we've had a load. There's Bob Buchanan, Mr. Goggle Man, Oakley Man. Bob, as you can see on the screen here, has asked, you might not be able to answer this at this point, but he wants to know if it's 1 or 2 days and can we camp?
It'll be 2 days, and as far as we're concerned, the reason for choosing the venues we've chosen is we can socially distance the campers. There is going to be a lot of responsibility on the families and the riders to actually do this with us. It can't be RHL dictating. It has got to be a joined up effort to get us to go racing. We're not going to allow anyone outside of the people involved with the event in. So the event's a lockdown, basically closed to club British Championship, if you want to call it. So Bob will be there, Mick from Destination MX will be there, and people like that. But we will not be having people turn up in their cars to do it. It will be the rider and the minimal amount of people to come with that rider. And that's our plan. We've got to come up with something that gets us around COVID to keep everyone safe, but allow us to go racing.
So you do whatever you need to do to go racing. So basically, if, for example, the event was on and people started turning up,
we'll have security on the gate.
You just say, sorry guys, you can't come in. And
and there is
Bob's.
Go on.
Sorry.
So we're planning. So anyone who turns up to the event Friday for technical or whatever, there'll be temperature check coming in. Any issues, anyone within that will not be allowed in. So, we're going to invest in making sure our event is safe and doing what we need to do, and we won't put anyone at risk. So there's ideas to discuss. Work areas is an issue, but do we have a work area now? Do we just have 3 zones where people come in 3 pairs and things like that? But this is stuff we'll discuss next week with the families and people like Bob.
Well, I'm not sure if you want to discuss that with Bob, because he also added this comment. So,
He's a bit,
so he's
yeah.
basically implying. I'd like to, I'd like to think that you've scrubbed yourself up to come on the show, Gareth. But let's be honest. I think most of us see you at an event covered in dirt and dust. It's not you. It's not your. Oh, here's another question. Dick Law wants to know about the press. I mean, again, you might not be able to answer this at this point. This actually does feel like we're doing the regular coronavirus daily thing here. All the questions coming in, but that's what we want. Can you answer that for Dick or not?
I can't see any reason why the press wouldn't come, but why all of a sudden do the press, apart from Liv MX and you, as in Dirt Hub, actually want to come and look at our event? They haven't for the last 5 years, have they? It's only what we do. It's what we've done. We've got the best British Championship by far with the talent we've got, and the press don't seem that keen to get involved. So,
well, that's a good point to now shift it on to the state of British youth motocross in general. You're extremely passionate about it. I know that. As many of us are. So we all get that. But you're right there in the firing line, trying to do it. So you are doing it, but every so often in interviews like this, and obviously you did one with Sophie podcast the other day, which was a real good listen. I sense every so often, obviously, you're finding it harder and harder, it seems, to keep your frustrations in. They seem to be coming out more. Is it just that total born of frustration that you always feel like you've got one hand tied behind your back? Is because that's the sense that's the sense I get from you.
My frustration is, if I look at every class in the British Youth National now, there is definitely 5 to 10 riders that can go on and at least do good stuff in Europe. But the frustration is, you look at the Junior Worlds. We went to Estonia and looked like a bunch of gypsies junior, and we're supposed to be Great Britain. We went to Italy. We invested, as in RHL, probably 10 or 15 grand of our own money. The families are doing it, and we get a result through hard work. But I'm stood there looking at Holland, looking at France, looking at Italy, looking at the Czech Republic. They're getting backed by their governing body. They're getting backed by the government because it's all linked. And we're just like finding our own money to do what we've got to do. And it does get to me because, we've got kids who could be world champions.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're not doing anything to help them. That's the frustration.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to win a world championship it takes a lot. As anybody that's won it would say, certainly not myself, clearly. But the raw talent, we've got some riders with at least that raw talent to possibly get and not nurture them. So how hard is it, Gareth, as an event organizer and running a championship for British youth riders? How hard has it been to sort of get government funding? Is that something that you go out and you have to try and do yourself, or does that have to be the first step approach to get government funding come from the official federation or whatever that you're aligned to?
I think so. You've opened up a whole can of worms there, because the big issue we have in this country is, and born out of frustration, I'll put Matt out there, MCF. We need one governing body in this country to be able to go to government to ask for money. Margaret and myself are involved with Y Sport, a government-led initiative, and they look at our sport and they ask who's in charge. And it's hard to say we've got a bunch of volunteers in charge of this sport, but that's what we've got.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at rugby, football, netball, volleyball, they're all professionally run bodies, and we're not. So I think we'll struggle ever to get funding.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier.
No,
So what? Okay, so that And again, I've said from the outset, this show will be more about the industry, and having candid conversations. I wanted it to try and be a bit like a dirt bike, a UK dirt bike forum, chat show. So with that in mind, how your relationship with the ACU does that get strained at times because of this? You go as far as that question as you want.
My problem with it is I'll probably air my frustrations, because the way our company works is it's like good, bad, uglies are done. So that we ask you for feedback because it's the only way to improve. If I voice my frustrations too much, which tonight will probably, be about 10 steps backwards with the ACU, because they will not see it as positive, but we need to look at it all. We need to develop and move forward, and there is no plan to move forward. I have heard nothing about the Adult British Championship, which I'm supposed to be running the last round on the August date.
Oh, okay. So you were still going, even though, because you had what, four of the 8 rounds?
Yeah. So my last round, was Lendrake.
So you're still scheduled. Okay, I didn't know that. So you're still scheduled to run the last round, but now it won't obviously have the youth there.
I won't be running I will not run the last adult round financially. I can't afford to.
Okay.
No disrespect, my youth riders are far more valuable to the future of our sport than 40 pro riders riding around the track. And that's black and white. I've spent 10 years working with the British youth kids to get where we are. When we're not going to step backwards, those kids are going to go forward for another 10 years, aren't they?
Well, that's what, without, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sing it, but I'm going to pull him up, as Michael Jackson said, children are our future. I'm definitely not going to sing it. So, but anyway, I may have opened a whole can of worms there with the Michael Jackson thing. So let's finish that there. But that's obviously how we're going to progress the sport to the next generation. And obviously the world evolves so quickly and it's changing, the way that you can market yourself now, social media being what it is, and all that, a youth championship probably has a lot more to offer than maybe even, adult championship, regards of upcoming brands that want to associate themselves with you, technology companies, all those things. So
even the kids are so switched on to social media and Instagram and how to sell product. Whereas, no disrespect to the older guys, there's some good guys that have come out of the early years of BYC that do quite a bit on social media, but the older generation in that championship don't take advantage of it.
No. Well, I mean, obviously what you've done, which has been done in other sports, but you've been the first to get out and do it with a degree of professionalism this year, and good professionalism. The live stream, which you did towards the tail end of last year, but obviously that is working seemingly great, because particularly with what we got coming up, if you can't bring people to the event, you were already live streaming it anyway. So the numbers you're getting, and I know because you've asked me in to do the live commentary with Sophie, so we're seeing the numbers watching it as we're doing it, and they're impressive numbers of people watching.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is they're not bullshit numbers. So like when we say we've had 122,000 people watch a kids event, you can go on Google Analytics and you can see those figures. It's no bullshit. And for me, my frustration with the sport, as you've seen, is we have really good racing. Whatever class it is, the racing is mega. It's bar to bar, but we don't get spectators because it's kids. So we're looking. We don't want sponsors inside the sport. We want sponsors outside the sport.
Absolutely. Listen, this is the hard bit, the hard nut to crack, but that is obviously what it is. We've got brands that do what they can with budgets, resources and all that. But if we're going to go to the next level, it has to be phone companies, mobile phone technology companies, all these kind of things to invest, obviously drink companies.
If you think back to when you were riding, and I was around, we had Group 33, we had Blue Strata, so you had loads of different things, didn't we? We had loads of different things. We have all those brands now. You know.
I'm still wearing Blue Stratus.
Well, yeah, we've noticed.
It's the same bottle. I've had it. I think it might have gone off.
Yeah, but even if we go back to the 90s when we had Phil Arms running the adult championship, we had Ovico in, we had good sponsors, and it's like we've not evolved. You know.
No. Talking of evolving, so some of these obviously questions are coming in. There's, by the way, those people that have already commented about Weston Beach Race. I've seen your question here, and we'll get round to. I'll pull some of them up when we get around to talking about the beach race with Gareth. I want to continue this thread on British Youth Motocross. Mark Rees, Beanie Reese's father, has thrown this up there, regards of women and girls racing. I'm guessing you're seeing the same screen as me. Can you see that, Gareth? Okay, so so he's basically saying, is there a way going forward, or have you considered it already, of bringing girls into the British Youth Championship, which obviously, you know, in this day and age with all that's going on in the world at the minute, you know, equality and all that is quite a key thing as well. And let's be honest, some of those girls really shred. Yeah.
And to be fair, he's just hit on something. We've had a meeting today, unfortunately, with Sophie and the Liv side. Sorry to plug Liv.
No, that's good. We don't get involved with politics and conflict of interest with all that here at Dirt Hub, so that's cool.
This is a discussion we've had, because we're probably the only online media outlet that's done anything around the Girls World Championship, and we are setting up a girls blog, because we want girls involved in the sport.
Yeah.
You know, because for me, same thing, looking for sponsors. If we've got girls involved in the sport, it brings in different people to the market. It allows us to go to their places. And there's some very good girls.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've definitely got, you know, a good advocate with getting Sophie involved herself. You know, obviously she's in the sport, in the industry. And actually, answer to your question, Mark. Well, Gareth's answered the best he can, but if you haven't seen this already, here's Sophie's actually watching herself. Hi, Soph. So she's brought this up anyway. Mark, there you go. Drop Sophie a message and continue the dialogue there about getting girls involved with the British Youth Championship, which would be great. I'd love to see that.
But not just the British motocross. Let's get girls involved, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. So obviously we've touched on your relationship with the ACU and trying to push this thing forward. And this is always key. I feel your frustrations a little bit as well. And I'll tell you why, because over the years, you and I both have sometimes you feel like that it becomes like a personal kick-in to the ACU, or they look at it that way. And that is not the case. You know, sometimes I've done that. I've been critical, but constructive criticism, I just don't want them to think that, you know, we're just laying the boot in for the sake of something to do. It's not laying the boot in. It's just like it's trying. If we all tried collectively with constructive criticism and getting together to just push this thing along, because there are so many people still doing motocross in the UK. That's the thing. We are still a massive motocross nation. Kit sales will tell you that.
If you look at the practice track issue lately, you know, there's so many people out there that want to ride. My frustration with the ACU is we've got Roy Humphreys, chairman, motocross guy. Andy Summers, head guy at the FIM, director of ACU. Good guy. Steve McCauley, super passionate. Chris Warren, Dave Edwards, there's good people there, but they seem scared to make a move, or they seem scared, they're held back by something. I don't know what it is. You know, I don't think, I've tried to get on the motocross committee because I thought if I was on the inside it would be better, but they're scared to have me or people like you or whatever involved, I think, because they don't like the truth.
Well, there is a degree of truth to that, but I'll tell you why. This is a story that, and Mark Eastwood won't mind me telling it, I'm sure. As far back to his father, Vic,
Yeah.
was one time on, or tried to get on the ACU committee, was invited on, but they in the end they basically, I can't remember if he actually did get on there or he didn't, but in the end he was too maverick for their ideas, so it was just like, and that was it. He said, no, I've no point going on there because everything goes to a vote, and I know whatever I suggest is going to be, it's not, I'm just, because I haven't got enough other people around me to support it. So that's the politics of it, which is always.
Yeah, and my frustration is like, this stems back to like Roger Harvey back after Mallory and like running some of the best Grand Prix events I've run, losing hundreds of thousands of pounds, and Roger saying, go and look after the youth, get involved with the ACU,
Yeah.
And I'll be loyal to the ACU, but the frustration of having a handbrake on all the time, no, it's not evolving, it's not growing. You see MCF, you see Paul Irwin, you see people doing stuff, Bridgestone.
Yeah.
The British Championship is probably the fourth standing event in this country now.
Yeah.
You can't sit on your ego and say we've got the British Championship and that's all that matters. You need to invest. That's my view.
So, I mean, absolutely, which you're trying to do, and then obviously, on to developing riders academies and stuff like that. So, without going into the full nitty gritty, what's your kind of vision with it then? Obviously you've worked before, you've got Rich involved with the RMJ Academy, and Ash doing great stuff. So that's obviously something you want to continue to develop, is it? And obviously shoot towards putting in, like you said, out some of the Dutch and Belgium teams, really do that extra step. That's obviously your long-term goal.
Literally, I want a pot of British riders that we're working with. So not the 9 that go to the Junior Worlds or whatever, but maybe 30 that we think have got talent that we can invest in. So whether that's with RMJ, whether it's with Justin Morris, whoever it's with, there's good trainers out there now. But also we need to bring the social media, the media's training into it. All of that needs to be developed. And my frustration is I'm having to fund that with help from some other people, but the organising bodies don't actually put very much in. We get £7,000 to go to the Junior World Championships. Across the nation's adult teams getting.
You get £7,000. Sorry, you get £7,000 from the ACU.
Yeah, to go towards travel. But then they take the insurance money back out of that for the riders, the entry money back out of it. Like we run a 7.5-ton lorry down to Italy last year. We did £2,000 in fuel. So, but there's never any money left to give the family.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it shouldn't just be about that event. We should be planning next year's World Championship in Finland now and working with riders. We want to go there. We finished 3rd last year. We want to go there to win it. I want Charlie Aymer to be a world champion. I wanted Eddie Wade to be a world champion.
So how do you said about that's obviously brilliant, get the development and stuff like that. Do you think, although it's just been sort of pulled back, you gave it a go on a couple of occasions. Landrake, the tail end of last year, was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it blowing. It was brilliant. I actually, at that point, came away from that years. Oh, I'm here with the internet.
Yeah, you're losing.
You still hear me, Gareth?
Yeah, I've got you.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, broadband's playing down here. Yeah. Must be all these.
I'm
not very thunderstorms. Don't do anything. Landrake. Yeah.
So for me, Jeff, the only way forward for the British Championship is adult and kids mixed. That has to be the future. I can't see any other way, being honest. And you've disappeared now. Where have you gone? You back?
No, I'm back. Honestly, I'm just there's genuinely been electricity in the air.
Yeah.
What side? That's got me now.
You keep disappearing.
I know. Sorry, everybody. This will be a bugger if this goes off. Bear with it. I can't do anything about it if it does. We'll have to restart another live show and do a second part.
You're back now. You seem good.
Right. Yeah, I heard all that. I did hear you though. So you think that's the absolute future, yeah?
Well, don't you? Not being funny.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was that's what I was actually kind of getting at. You know, Landrake, I came away from Landrake last year thinking, great, we're finally going somewhere with this now. And then we get one wet meeting where like you said, you know, it was abnormal conditions. You put your hand up and said, we made some mistakes as well, which didn't help. But it just seems like, okay, we got somewhere in Landrake. We have one bad one with it, and then it's all back to square one.
Yeah, because it's you have to fail to succeed.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're appealing that we failed, which I don't think we have. And all of a sudden, everyone's buried their head in the sand and gone backwards. So, you know, unless there's a willingness to develop, as far as I'm concerned, the adult British Championship is dead. You know, I can't, me as an event organizer, to find £13,000 worth of prize money, to pay £4,000 to the ACU before you even invested in the venue and the event, you can't do it. They need youth riders there. You know, the paying gate's not there anymore. You know, and to me, if you look at the teams that were at the British Championship, that's probably the best setup it's been at the British Championship for a few years at Hill Silver. But the Dave Thorpes, the Milwaukees, the Phoenix Tools need spectators to come in for their sponsors.
Yeah.
So charging £20, £25 doesn't work. Let's charge £10. Let's charge £10 to go in. Let's live stream it. You know, let's eventually aim for it to be free to turn up to spectate.
Yeah.
And we get more sponsors, we get more income, we get more impact.
I mean, you know, I knew that you're getting, like we touched on, getting a little bit more frustrating, but I certainly wasn't expecting you to come out with a statement like that. But then obviously when you spell it out in financial terms, which so many of us don't get to see and understand, and then obviously that spells a different picture in regards of like you're now, like you've already said, looking like it would take a lot at this stage, as you and I talk now, for you to run that final British Championship round, which you're scheduled to do, and that's saddening, really. It's quite sad.
But even forget me, I can't see how any club organizer would want to do that last round, because I don't think you're going to be allowed to have spectators turn up.
Yeah.
Even if it was at Blacksall, they would still need circa 40 grand to run that event. You know, and that doesn't come from a rider paying 80 odd pounds to enter.
No,
it just doesn't add up. It didn't, you know, and you have to be real about it. Unless it adds up, unless the ACU turn around to me and say, right, we'll cover the costs, you run the event. You know, because there's going to be 30 marshals at £40 or whatever it is, £50.
Yeah.
You know, the days of a volunteer have gone.
Totally. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But, you know, so obviously when we touched on Landrake being good, you know, which it was, you had the big bar in from Weston, whatever, it really fell. Bob's back again. I mean, he's part of the crew and what we do. Obviously, he's he's there in the industry doing the Oakley rider service. Bob has also agreed. So here's his comment. Basically, there you go. He feels that Landrake felt like a proper championship meeting. And it did. And to be honest, Landrake is probably, I wouldn't say that's the biggest paddock in the world, as in regards of, you know, flat and everything. And yet you still managed to make that work that day. So that bodes well.
Yeah. And like I say, I think the first round was awkward. If we hadn't had the rain, we had the space. So it was like, you know, there's been some criticism of what we were doing, but we had extra parking. James at Little Silver is mega. You know, so it rained. That's what more can I say? You know,
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's easy to chuck it out there that it's the kids' fault. But did you see those kids going around that track? They were pretty good. Yeah.
I did. I watched them all day and commented on
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And they were doing great.
Yeah.
So but that's the thing. Like we said, youth racing does offer that, and that is no disrespect to pro riders and adult riders. What you get with youth riders is always a massive level of excitement, because, quite frankly, the particularly the sort of 65 up to 85, they're still too young to really know the dangers and risks. So they go at it, and you see all the rookie mistakes and everything, and that's what makes it exciting. So, yeah, like a lot of people watching this, we all want. I can't. If you don't want British youth motocross to develop, then you're just in the wrong game, really. Because we all want that to happen, don't we?
Yeah. You know, it's
okay.
Going back to the 80s.
Yeah. So Dick Law has come in again here, so Dick's been around the sport a long time, used to ride himself, and obviously, been a reporter for so long for TMX and now D2L Media. Dick's put that up. What worries him is that if the track is okay for top youth and adults, but what's your comeback to that?
We go and ride the adult tracks. If you look at, so let's compare us to Holland. Are we saying our youth riders aren't as good as the Dutch riders because they both ride on the same track on the same day? So
yeah.
Don't knock my kids. My kids will go around anything you want them with the adult track. Look at those auto riders. The auto riders are my biggest fear because they're so little, but they rode round Little Silver as good as anyone else.
Okay, I'm gonna add to that. I always said from the outset when I was starting this thing, I tried to be Fiona Bruce, but obviously not as good looking, or Richard Dimber, whoever did before, and sort of just kind of share it and be in the middle. But I am going to offer an opinion up on this. I believe that obviously our youth riders should be riding the adult tracks as well at that level. If it's a national championship, riding more demanding tracks that the adults ride will make them better riders. So that's my opinion on that. I agree with you there wholeheartedly.
Yeah. It does. Not being funny, you look at the talent we've got there. They'll go around anything.
Yeah.
The auto thing is a bit iffy, and that's probably the one thing I would change. But I would create them their own little British championship, perhaps a mini mini championship. Increase the 65 riders, give them some more racing, because the auto thing needs to happen. Because that's our feeder to the future.
Yeah. See, talking to you now, what I'm getting across more than ever, and I know how passionate you are, and like you said, sometimes that gets lost in translation where your frustrations come out and blah blah blah. But you're always trying to drive forward with a project and what you do. I'm getting a sense from you now, though, particularly with the coronavirus and whatever, that actually it's amplified your ambition and desire to put your foot on the gas even more at the minute. Would that be true?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's touch on the ACU. I've had a few conversations with Steve McCauley, a few with Andy, but has anyone heard anything from them? They're pretty much buried their head in the sand. My team, we're already on 2021. We're already talking to sponsors. If they don't want to run the adults with us next year, perhaps we'll run our own pro classes. But we've got plans that we will push forward. You've seen what we're doing. I'm pushing the live thing, whether we compete against one another, whatever, but that's racing. But there has to be
I'll say it again. There's no competition there. We need more people talking about British motocross, whether it's live motocross, whether it's Dirt Hub, whether it's Motohead, whatever it is. We need more emphasis on youth motocross. No matter, we're not in competition. We're all in together. That's the point. It's like mental.
Yeah, I've had more conversations with Matt Bates in the last 6 weeks since you tried to get us all to come together, and Paul Irwin about what's going on in the future. And And okay, maybe we've got different ways of doing things, but we've all got the same passion. We all wanted to succeed. And I think Matt could be getting to a stage where he's just worn out and like had enough, because he can go and earn far more money doing, event stuff. But I think that passion is still there in Matt, as it is in all of us. But it's like you keep getting someone standing on you and pushing you backwards, saying it won't work. And no disrespect, they haven't got the knowledge, or from what I can see, they haven't had the involvement in the sport that we have. And for someone to turn around to me and tell me I don't know what I'm on about when I've done it since 19 whatever, or to tell you that we don't know, our views are valuable.
Totally. I've seen you stood out in wind, rain, and knee deep in shit as much as you've then had to come back to an office and then probably a week later check the bank balance to realize you've also lost a shitload of money.
Little silver was a gamble, wasn't it? If it had been dry, it would have been good. But so 20 odd grand there. So but that's right.
Here's some good questions while we're still on the youth stuff, because obviously we still got to talk about Weston yet. Well, I want to talk about, but that's Callum Swan. Good to see you tuning in, Callum. I don't know what ridiculous clothes you're wearing tonight watching, because but he's probably, I don't know. Anyway, Callum's brought this up. Here we go. This is his suggestion for British youth motocross. I think that we need in the UK is a stock class. So what he means by that is obviously, like they do in America, an MX2 mod, and it, so you can't tamper with the bikes. It's all like that. And then you've got a pro class, and then he's added to it, in my opinion, that could save youth racing as it's done in America. So, I mean, this is good stuff. What I'm liking here already is we're getting, this is the whole idea of why I wanted to get you on, is we're getting some of this feedback. I know you get it all the time, but we're getting people interact. So is that something you'd look at? I guess you'd look at anything to make it better.
Yeah, me, and then that's what I like. We've even spoke about one tire, a tire sponsor that like this one brand and things like that. But, it's not so much, I think, the money side of it used to be in the 80s and 90s. We can remember seeing people spending a fortune. There is still money in that youth paddock, but I think the talent is perhaps outweighing it now. But I agree, I would sooner have everything stock, and the talent will show. But, there is good riders, and that's why when I do Junior Worlds, I'll pick some odd ones that haven't got money, because I want them to have the experience, and hopefully that brings them on. But it's the same thing with sponsors. I'll feed, so I have certain people ask me, who to help, who not to help, and I will steer them, because I like being clerk of the course, because I get to watch every kid, and you can have a kid in 20th that's actually got talent, and you think, it needs a bit of help, and we try to do that. We try to steer people. KTM Judd ask us, who do you see? And it isn't just sometimes about the kid, it's about mum, dad, auntie, uncle that's involved as well. And I did that with Preston. I steered Preston towards KTM, because that Orange Brigade idea of taking a kid and taking him all the way to the World Championship, Preston is one of those riders for me that could potentially make it with a bit of help. I
think, going back with now putting my Team Green Kawasaki hat on, if we could hit a level of success like you said, where it's all in like Landrake was, and there was a clearer path to EMX for me to then go and speak to the guys, the head honchos at Kawasaki. It just makes the pitch of going get behind this so much easier.
But even it's for me, I need the heads of Honda there. I need all the people there, because there is talent there that they should be looking at. They should be looking at 85 plus for what's coming out. And Thorpe, to be fair to Dave, Dave was there looking at Drake, and he could see kids with potential. So they need to be on that radar, and that's my frustration. It's like Callum's a good kid, but he's not getting picked up quick enough.
Yeah.
You know, he needs 2 or 3 years to develop. Look at Lewis. Lewis is like just starting to come on now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you took him away a bit too early from the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was yeah. Well, mainly because of his size. To be honest, he's such a little bulldog. Anyway, but this is all, like I said, this is all good stuff, and hopefully, the outcome of us just talking on this show will help a little bit to keeping that train rolling in trying to get an all-encompassing, high quality British Youth Championship, all in quality tracks, quality venues, the best riders in the UK, battling for an ACU championship that's affiliated to the FIM, and we can start getting some investment in from some government or outside sponsors and start sending these kids to the World Junior Championship, which obviously was a shame it got cancelled this year, but totally the right decision, obviously, in the end, particularly with what you said, the amount of money it takes to get there. It would have been, obviously, we've just seen tonight before we came on that Dave King, who's now or has been watching the show, obviously that they've made a decision to postpone or cancel, whatever you want to call it, the MXDN for next year, until next year, which obviously is the right thing. But the difference is, of course, with what you guys do, you can live stream, and it's not all about the footfall of spectators coming out to watch. So it sounds like we're going racing this year.
Yeah, and then, like I say, we're going to be led by, obviously, government. And I think there's a willingness within the ACU, but I think we've got to tick boxes that we're doing it correctly. But I can't see a reason, unless we get this second spike, that and that's why we've gone to the end of August, just to be safe. To be honest with you, I think we could have gone at the end of July, but being safe, let's say August. We'll have clear understanding where we are. And on the vets thing, that's so frustrating for Dave and Brian and Di, but they're reliant. They need the foreign riders to come in to make that event. That event is mega. We all love it, but too much of a risk to bring all those people from all over the world in. And we'll just have to support it next year more. That's all we can do.
100%, because it is a great event, a unique event, and obviously that event, what makes that event is the socializing, the beer tent, everybody coming together. And if you can't have that, it's just never going to be the same. So a smart decision by Brian and Dave on that. But and like you said, we'll be right behind that next year.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be difficult for Dave. Well, both of them, because it's like. Talk about passion. There's two guys with a massive amount of passion. So to do what they've done or hurt, but we all know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Talking of big events, let's move away from British Youth Nationals and then move into, you do that. You do the British Championship, or you were trying to, and maybe you'll get it back. Weston Beach Race. Wow. Now, where do we even start with that under the circumstances? Obviously, it's not scheduled to happen to October, but if we go on last year's event, which to me, you'll tell me yes or no, for me, coming along and being there and taking it all in seemed like one of the best ones ever, regards of footfall, organization, the track, everything. So what's happening with that? Can you enlighten us a little bit at this stage, or is it just there's only so much?
Same thing. Where we are with it as we stand now is, and we're working with North Somerset Council in a positive way to put the event on in October. As it stands at the moment, we're having to do a massive amount around, obviously, the COVID issue. But again, we don't see an issue, as long as we do our planning, in why we're not running. We've got to jump through some hoops. The rider technical will be different. We think we'll probably have only advanced ticket sales. We will cap the entry, so we would probably have 700 solos. The pits, we know we can socially distance. Instead of 2 people in the pits, we might have 1. But at the moment, we're not seeing a reason, as long as this COVID thing continues to disappear, that we won't be racing at Weston. And the plans, like I say, we're on doing all the paperwork with the council now. So there is no plan not to run that event at this moment.
So I'm guessing, like you've just touched on it a little bit, but this, I mean, there's events.
Yeah.
You know, the Vets MX Nation is a huge event, but you know, a historic venue that's had motocross rages. Weston is taking 1,000 or more bikes over a weekend and dumping them on a public beach in a big town. The red tape alone, when things are going all right, must be a minefield with the environmental agency and all that. So you obviously can't go into this without loads of contingency plans. So
no,
nobody expected coronavirus, and I'm going to use the word some people hate, unprecedented times, but it is. But you, down the years, you must have always be prepared for if you have to push the event back and have a backup plan anyway, regardless of what happened this year.
There's always a backup plan, Jeff. There's always a plan B and a plan C. You know, and we've got that in place, and we even offered that up. And we've been told at this moment in time, no, let's stay with October. You know, with the beach race, we have to look at it economically and as well as the pandemic side. Western, in some respects, the hoteliers and whatever need our event, and especially this year. So for us to make any decisions early that we're not doing it, which, like I say, hasn't even come on the radar yet, because we don't see a reason why we can't do it. You know, if you listen to Boris, you look at the numbers, you know, hopefully by the time we get to September, this thing is going to be out of here, and, you know, or we've got some kind of way of fixing it. So there is no, it will be a different event. You know, we've already made the decision that there won't be any foreign riders if we bring foreign riders. So we've got an American rider that wants to come, but he's willing to quarantine himself for 2 weeks pre-event. You know, we've spoke with KTM and Husqvarna. We're not going to bring any foreign, you know, trucks in or anything like that, because we just think it's the wrong thing to do.
Talking of foreign riders, Dawn Lee Keaton earlier on, and I know you got broad shoulders, so I'm going to throw this at you. This was early. This was early in the live show while we were still talking about British Youth Championship. Dawn Lee Keaton, here you go. You've asked the question, Gareth. I'm going to put him on the spot because he is man enough to answer it. Here's the question, Gareth: is he embarrassed using Ronnie Mack to bring a load of cash for him, but not even compete a lap? Or was that the plan all along? Sorry to throw that at you, but you know, this is exactly that, about getting riders over and a show and bringing people in. Now, I should imagine Mr. Ronnie Mack wasn't a cheap hire to get over.
He wasn't a cheap hire to get over, and I think the young man should come and join me for 3 weeks at Weston to see what's involved, because I can't see where the cash is. To be fair to Ronnie Mack, he did what I was expecting to do, apart from not do a poxy lap. You know,
it's too tough for him. Proper race.
That was frustrating for us. Probably more frustrating for us than all the people that came to see him, because I think other than not competing and doing riding round, there was no way Ronnie Mack was ever coming there to win that race. He was coming there to be entertainment. But
you tried telling him that.
Yeah. But we wanted him to go round 2, 3, 4 times. You know, let's be honest, it's tough. And as an ex-professional rider who's done his career, you know, he was there to entertain, which, like I said, the frustration is the guy didn't go round. But I
mean, the hype it brought in, obviously, which is part of the big thing, you know. like I said, you had what I would say. It certainly seemed like a healthy crowd, and I think there was a degree of Ronnie Mac hype that made that happen. So,
and the guy, but the guy, not being funny, Americans, you've worked with them, they don't come cheap.
No.
The demands are this, and this. Ronnie lost a hire car. Who pays for that? Our insurance paid for that.
When you say lost, what?
Just the hire car. He doesn't know where he left it. He had the key, he couldn't find the car. When it car turned up 2 weeks later, but it's like it was wrecked. So
that's Weston for you.
Yeah.
I think we've all had nights like that in Weston, even when it's not a beach race.
Yeah, but like I say, there's lots of frustrations with what went on. But it goes back to when we had Travis. Travis was like the man, rode everything, did everything, wanted to race. This guy wanted to be entertainment. Yeah.
But it's so that's again what we're saying basically, and going back to this year's event is you're at this stage you're well on your way of planning contingency plans to still run with social distancing and etc. As we talk right now, it's going to take a massive another spike again in coronavirus or whatever to put us back another 2 months for it to really.
If it went back, it would be a month or another month. But as it stands at this present moment, and the vibes we are getting politically and from all the steers we're getting from the event industry, the event will happen on the October date. There will be some social distancing. We won't have massive queues for technical. So what we're thinking, and this is only thinking at the moment, is you will arrive in your van. You probably won't have to sign on because it'll be done electronically. You will be given a pass with a time that you will go to do your technical and put your bike in the park permit. Like I say, lots of different things going on. We're pretty much thinking that we won't do ticket sales on the day. It will be advanced. But, this time next month, we could all be allowed to be a metre apart and, shake hands, couldn't we?
And at this moment in time, a North Somerset Council being, I guess they would love it they'd love it to work. So they're not giving you any unnecessary resistance. Like they push in to try and make it happen as well. So that's good.
They want to make it happen. Like I say, there's a positive mindset on both sides that it will happen. But ultimately, on both sides, we know we have to be responsible. The COVID thing is still there. And we have to act responsibly for North Somerset, to be fair, and for the town of Weston as well as for our riders.
I mean, obviously you get a huge footfall, you have in the past. The one advantage, I suppose, is it is a very, very big beach. So you can still probably spread people out. I guess you'd have to do like in some supermarkets, a kind of one-way system round.
We're looking, you've seen the big tunnels we've got, they're 25 grand-ish each. So we're going to invest in another one of them. So like you say, we'll become very IKEA-ish and it'll be like, we'll take you through this way. But we're a long way from that yet. Like I say, we could be in a situation in October where, there is no social distancing. But we don't know. And that's the problem trying to plan it now. It's like our health and safety guy is writing paperwork, but one day it's in date, the following day it's out of date. So everything's like our medical people, St. John's, they've got no issue with us doing the events. Even the BYCs, they're happy to go because all that build up and backlog of COVID is like disappeared. So they're all bored now. They've got nothing, medical people are nothing to do. So
and everything will be in place. They'll be all PP'd up and PPE'd up, and so it's all good.
So like I say, there is no plan to change the October date, and that's as much as we can say now. And it probably wouldn't change until the end of August if it had to.
Well, let's hope then that common sense prevails, which obviously in the first 2 months of lockdown was an amazing insight to human nature.
Yeah.
I think that's where we really saw whether you've got common sense or not. So hopefully people will go about their business, keep doing their social distance and do the right thing. And there won't be a second spike. And we can all stand on that beach in October and enjoy the incredible spectacle that is Weston Beach Race. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think it would be not being funny for us to get through this year and finish with something like that would be, pretty good. But you never know. We might have some ACU Adult British Championship rounds after that. Yeah, we're all waiting to hear, aren't we?
Well, I think it's fair to say, Gareth, you've definitely laid it all on the line talking to me this evening. So I think you've definitely set your stall out, and thank you for doing that. And and obviously thank you for doing that because to just try and also G this thing up and get back to how we finished last year at Landrake, which was such a buzz, and I mean, if you actually stop to think about it, the last two events that you ran last year were probably two of the best events you've ever had, Landrake and Weston.
Yeah. No, the best event I've ever had is in Alston Park. It was called Handlebar Festival, but no one turned up to it. But,
yeah.
But when I saw Jeffrey Erlings and Ken Roxon for the first time and thought, why haven't we got British kids doing that? So
yeah. But no, it's good. I'm glad that it's lockdown hasn't curbed your enthusiasm. If anything, it's just spiked you up a bit more.
Yeah, no, we'll be good. Like I say, 21, 22 is going to be good for us. It's just frustrating. We've had to put the handbrake on for this year because we were going the right way quite quickly, to be fair.
Well, it's been great talking to you. Thanks to everybody that's come on and asked Gareth questions, even some difficult ones for you to answer, but you've done it, so that's great. I appreciate your time. Also appreciate the fact that you're there. You're not wearing your suit like you do in your profile picture.
No.
I'm used to seeing you in a high vis vest. That's difficult for me to say after an hour. So look, keep cracking on, keep doing what you're doing. And I'm sure many people will keep trying to support you to try and make this all-encompassing British Youth Championship and Adult Championship happen.
That's where I'm on you, because I need people, not just Gareth or Jeff saying it. We need everyone saying it, because if we don't, we're screwed, basically. I think you just will go to Matt and say, get on with it and run the British Championship, because that's where we're putting it.
Well, we got some people, Marge has come on, Marge Clark. I'm guessing that's Marge from Sid Cup. Good to see Stewie Edmonds. Well done, lads. Thanks, Stu. Stu will push all he can as well. Colin Burnett. Good list, great listening. Thanks, everybody. It's been a good hour, just over an hour, discussing all that, Gareth, with you. I'll let you go. Maybe I don't know what you're going to do now. Now, are you on a diet? Are you off the drink midweek?
500 calories a day. I'm becoming a hunk.
God, what's that? What's that? 2 glasses of wine?
Well,
something like. Oh, bloody hell! I should be having your calorie intake when I hang up from this show. Good stuff. I'll be in touch. I'm sure we'll keep dialogue going and keep up.
Hopefully, the end of August at commentator.
Yeah. Well, if you're doing it, I'll be there for sure. So keep on keeping on. Thanks for your time. Say hello to Margaret for me. Keep up the good work with live motocross and everything as well. And I'll see you soon.
Cheers, Jack. Thank you.
No worries. So there's Gareth. He's out of there. Gareth's gone. As I just said, thanks everybody for getting involved. Mark Rees, keep up the fight. We're trying to do that, Mark. So I'm going to sign off. Before I do, that really, just want to say that. Thanks so very much for joining us for episode 2 of Dirty Talk. We're going to do another one in 2 weeks' time. Thursdays at 8 p.m. Always Thursdays at 8 p.m. Bi-monthly. I don't know who the guest is going to be in 2 weeks' time, but I shall let you know next week so you can get your questions prepared or whatever. And we'll get back at it in a fortnight's time. In the meantime, everybody, thanks for tuning in. As I said, spread love, not the virus. That's key. Keep getting out there, supporting practice tracks, doing what you do, and get geared up, because hopefully we will be back racing pretty soon. Thanks, Dick, for telling me it's bi-weekly. It is bi-weekly, but it's spelt with an I. That's it. Right. Go on, you people. Get off. Do what you got to do. Watch the news. Get depressed, or watch a film. Have a soak in the bath. Do whatever you got to do. And I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Right. That's it. Oh, one other thing to mention very quickly. We mentioned that Dave King came up earlier on the Vets MX Nations, and so that's been postponed this year. But also, I'm going to post up something on my own Facebook page tomorrow. I'm going to be doing live event commentary this weekend for a race simulation event in Germany. So if you want to watch racing this weekend, that's not an actual race, but it's everything a race is meant to be, but doesn't mean anything. I'll post that up on my my own Facebook page, and possibly here on Dirt Hub's page as well. And you could see some racing this weekend with some good riders from Northern Europe that are going to be out training and racing this weekend. There you go. Mark Aspen, bloody media. I know. Sorry, Mark. Right. I'm finishing it there now, everybody. Waffling on. See you in a couple of weeks. Take care, everybody. Over and out.